Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we discuss the issues that are plaguing our communities and how we can best solve them. Tonight, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Alex Dumas. Mr. Dumas is going to inform us about a lot of things that not only what he does, but the things that he does in communities to help to build them. Alex he transforms your leadership and communication skills by learning to inspire others, navigate complex conversations, and cultivate a culture of collaborative, creative, renowned for his expertise in leadership, communication, and mindset. Alex Dumas has empowered hundreds of corporate executives and business owners to become win win communicators since 2018. Whether you're seeking a keynote speaker, executive coach, or expert voice for your podcast or publication, Alex delivers transformational content that resonates with leaders at all levels. Your audience will walk away with actionable strategies to communicate effectively, lead purposefully, and achieve personal and organizational success. Alex's impact extends beyond the boardroom as the architect of a global movement that has raised over six figures for several charitable causes. His commitment to fostering inclusive leadership is evident in his roles as vice president of the BIPOC Coach Collective and head coach for Black executive men, where he continues to build and nurture diverse global communities. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Mr. Alex Dumas. Welcome to
Yeah, man, Charles, thank you. Appreciate the warm welcome and love the introduction. I might have to take you on the road with me.
are there any other things you'd like to add to your bio?
The only things I can think about adding are the two most important things about me. I'm a loving husband, devoted father, and a dog dad. But most people don't need to know about that. They'll know from my social media. But I think you covered most of the real goodies.
Well, I'll tell you, just reading your bio, there are four things that I really want to explore, and I'll take them in order. So I'll just tell you that I want to explore the entrepreneurship, the leadership, the communications, and the mindset.
Okay.
And I like to start off with the entrepreneurship. And I want you to tell us what inspired you to become an entrepreneur.
Well, what inspired me back in 2014 to step into this world of entrepreneurship was fear because me and my wife had discovered we were expecting our second child. Our daughter was 4 at the time, and we were going to find out we are going to have a baby boy. And at the time, I'm working as a case manager for disaster recovery. I'm from New York originally. I live in North Carolina now. So in New York, take you back 12, 13 years ago, we had Superstorm Sandy wreaked havoc across the tri-state on Long Island. Right, it just devastated the different areas. So I was a part of that movement of rebuilding New York and supporting homeowners. But that wasn't going to be quite enough, right, to have another mouth to feed. So I got involved with financial services. So I got recruited into a company. It got licensed in New York and got my life and health license. And I was building a team. I recruited at an agency of 150 licensed agents in my downline, if you want to call it. That's the verbiage used back then. And I I was excited about it because it was the first time I was really exposed to this world of personal transformation and growth. I would watch videos and read books from Les Brown and Eric Thomas, E.T., Ed Milet, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, right? This is my first real exposure to this line of work, even though my background is in psychology through college. But you graduate college, you don't read any books after you get a diploma. And so 2014, 2015, I'm building up this team, and I'm helping families with financial literacy. And it was a good intention, it was a good crusade. It just wasn't the dream for me, because I saw through coaching a couple of years later in professional speaking that there's a different way that I can amplify my voice, that I can bring my creative self to the table outside of the constraints of the financial business. And it's a great business. It's necessary for people to know this information, but I saw myself different. I knew that I didn't want to get like a Series 6. I didn't want to get these other certifications and go down this path from insurance. And once I found coaching and speaking, that's where the real lights turned on for me. And I knew that this was going to be the path for me as an entrepreneur and as a man.
Oh wow, that's a lot, and I'll
Yeah.
say that those are all pretty good things as well because financial literacy is a big thing, especially in marginalized communities because there's just not a lot of that there. So at that time when you did that spurt of the insurance, if you're not still doing it, what did you find that was really purposeful that not only help you but help the people in your community?
Yeah, it's a great question. To answer your question first, I'm not currently licensed. I've phased out of that business. But what was interesting for me was just the access to the information, right? Things that you don't think about, different tax codes, different things that people use to leverage to protect their money, right? It's the language of the rich or the wealthy. They have a different lens on life. They have different access. They have different resources that they can draft from. And what I saw from doing presentations, I would go into different communities, schools, neighborhoods, especially in Brooklyn and Queens and in Long Island. And I was, I don't want to say dumbfounded, but I was surprised that more people didn't get this information. They didn't know how to leverage or didn't understand things like compound interest, right? Just something simple as, so I'm going to dip into my insurance bag for a second, right? The rule of 72, right? It taking 72 years for something to double, and then recognizing with different interest rates and ways to, I don't want to say hide it, but put money in leverage spaces where they can actually earn a lot more interest. It doubles faster. And that was a visual cue for me of saying, well, I don't want my money, let's say I put it in a bank, or some folks might hide it in their mattress, they might hide it in the walls, right? Just old school thinking that that money doesn't really work for them, right? This is where I saw the opportunity to help people recognize that they got to put their money to work. They work hard for it. Now let the money work for them. And so many, I mean, so many people of color that I had conversations with, they were just like, they were impressed by it, they were amazed, but the real shift was like them not recognizing that maybe I can do this, or maybe this is something that's available for me. Who am I? I make 30,000, 40,000 a year. I can't save. I can't do that. So it was also working with them on their own mindset, their own disempowering beliefs about
Mhm.
money and their own opportunities available.
So, can you share the story of your first business venture?
Yeah, I mean, this was really the first time I had struck on my own, because my parents immigrated to the States from Haiti in the 70s, so their mindset was go to school, get a job, work until you die, have some kids along the way, get married, and that's the path, that's the plan. So I never had any dreams or intentions of ever being an entrepreneur. My wife, she was always into something, right? She would always be in direct sales. She would always have these different little ventures, and it just inspired me. I'm like, maybe I can do something like this. Maybe why not me, right? And that's all you need sometimes, just a little seed, right? To see somebody else do it and someone else achieve and accomplish. And I, I'm competitive too. I want to be in the race. I'm like, I want to get on the field. I want to have some fun and play. So that venture was doing well for a while, and I wrote about it in this book, in this chapter of this book called The Journey of Riches, The Power of
Mhm.
Self Discovery. My chapter is called Everybody Wins, including me. expanding global influence through communication. I wrote about my year in 2015. So taking you back, 2014, toward the end of the year, I get introduced to this business, and I'm starting to build, and I'm starting to recruit and help people with financial solutions. 2015, I had a whirlwind of a 90-day cycle of a lot of challenges. So in April, my son is born. 3 days after that, my mom passes. 3 months later, I'm laid off from that job I just mentioned with disaster recovery. So all within essentially 90 to 100 days, my life is falling apart. I'm grieving. I'm trying to figure out how am I going to take care of these kids. My wife's on bed rest because of complications from the pregnancy and the delivery, and I'm struggling. And the business starts to tank. My energy is focused on scarcity. I'm now in a space of like I feel like I have to hunt. I have to get people. I have to recruit. I have to, and I'm going from Long Island to Wall Street several times a week because I have agents there. I'm trying to train them, trying to inspire them. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Meanwhile, I'm having all these insecurities, all these doubts, all these feelings, this sadness, and nowhere, no space to actually process these things. So that business eventually really fades out in 2016, and I make the decision. I want to make a decision that I'm going to return to the workforce. Right, I went full force as an entrepreneur after being laid off. That was in the summer of 2015, and then by the next summer, I'm back in a job, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm defeated. You know what I mean, Charles? I've let my family down. I'm a failure. But here's the thing about setbacks, and this is going to sound cliche, but this is the truth, at least for me. That's what I've experienced. The setback was the setup for the comeback because through the new job that I landed, that introduced me to this life's work of coaching and professional speaking. So it was all meant to happen for the way it was meant to be. I believe in God. You can call it universe, source, spirit, infinite intelligence, whatever you want. But he was working in the background, the plan for me. I just didn't know it at the time. I had the right vision of helping people. I just had the wrong channel to do that. So I thought finances was going to be the way, but coaching and professional speaking has been the path for me all these years.
Oh wow! So that's really an impelling story because I love the way you actually were able to bounce back and you was just resilient with regardless of the case. But can you
Yeah.
tell us, like when that situation was upon and it was doing what it was doing, what is it that you decided that you would put your hat on and you would just roll with it? What happened then?
With the fight with coaching.
Yeah, well, yeah, with the
Hmm.
coaching.
Yeah, I and once again I'm going to refer back to the book, right? Journey of Riches, The Power of Self Discovery. I wrote about it where this is toward the end of 2016, and this is I had been to a couple conferences before, but for some reason my listening was different for this one. I was attending this event in Atlanta. This is November of that year. I see the speaker. They make a great offer from the stage. Their people are buying their program. They're enrolling for this year-long program course. And I think to myself, wow, that's really great. That's interesting. Good for them. Life goes on. I do my thing. Fast forward a month later, I see the same speaker back at another event that I'm sponsoring on behalf of my company. And I see them make the same offer. They didn't have 3 days this time, Charles. They had 60 minutes because they're there as a guest speaker. So 60 minutes instead of 3 days. I hear them make the same offer, the same pitch, the same everything. And I see the same reaction from people. They go to the back of the room, credit cards in hand, order forms. Oh my God, right? It's this frenzy. And that's where the light turned on for me. I said, oh, I got to learn how to do that. There's a system to this. This is something that's duplicatable. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't just a one off. This is something that this person is a professional at doing. And something stirred inside of me like, I've got to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to move people like that, whether it's for money or whatever. I just want to learn how to move and mobilize people to make powerful decisions. And that's been the, lack of a better word, the obsession for me all these years since.
And so tell us this. What are the biggest challenges you faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome them?
Gosh. Oh, how much time do we have? Because we can have, that could be a whole separate book. My goodness. No, Les Brown said this really well. The biggest challenge that he had, and that I reckon that I mirror for myself, is that believing that I could do the things that I do. Right? It's not a it's not a matter of inability or capacity or technique or skill. It's just, and this can sound hokey for some people, like the belief, but I had to excavate a lot of the different demons and challenges that I had within me, the disempowering beliefs, the thoughts that this isn't meant for me. I can't do this. I'm black. I'm young. Who am I? I don't come from a corporate background. I don't have these skills. I don't talk this language. I'm not, right. I could pile on all this evidence of what I'm not. But what if I reframe that? What if I start looking at, well, what can I do? What have I done? The difference I make with people, the inspiration that anytime someone's around me, they walk away feeling better. So belief was a big challenge. Money is a big challenge as you want to invest yourself, as you up level yourself, keeping the funds going, keeping that machine fed, and not feeding into the comparison game. I think that's one of the other things that held me back for a long time. Was, if I were to see you, Charles, like we're gonna go back to 2016, 2017. If I saw you and you were to say something like, "Man, I just closed $100,000 deal," right? Something in that order. I would descend. I would be in this depressed state of like, "Oh my goodness, I wish I could do that. Why not me?" It- it- there's no strength from that. There's no energy that's created from that. It's all reactive. It's all response to me now piling on myself. Well, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. What you do has nothing to do with me, but I am transferring. I'm taking your victory and creating a loss for myself. So a lot of it is about the mindset, the resilience, the focus, and honestly, the biggest challenge to really sum this up is what I call the TEA, the T. Right, I'm spelling the T now for you folks. So grab your pens and papers. Time, energy, and attention. Time, energy, and attention. Where's my focus? Am I focused on hitting a certain income number? Oh, what's my goal? Oh, I don't know. Well, how am I going to get to something if I have no target, if I don't even have a vision of where I'm going? My energy. Am I sleeping right? Am I eating well? Am I exercising? Am I drinking enough water? Am I nurturing myself spiritually? Am I nurturing myself with the with books and podcasts and audios and things like that? Not to flush, not to be toxic positive, like everything's fine, nothing, head in the sand feeling. But no, but just something that empowers me and inspires me. Am I doing that? Where's my energy at? And then the attention. Am I focused on this goal? Am I going into work and saying I'm going to do the work? I'll tell you this: when I was in the financial business, I would show up to the office 9:30 in the morning, set my briefcase down, set my computer up, have my list of people I'm going to call, but I wouldn't call till like 12, 1 o'clock. Sometimes not at all. What am I doing? Well, I need to get this ready, and I need to get this paperwork ready, and I need to get this presentation ready. Well, if I don't have anybody to present to, then what good is a presentation? Right? So it's looking at these honest conversations with myself of, where's my attention going? What am I getting distracted by? Am I interested in scrolling on Facebook and LinkedIn, like, ooh, what's going on here? What's going on in this person's world? What about my world? I'm oblivious to this, right? And it took a long time to recognize, where am I spending my time? How am I spending my energy? And how am I spending my attention? And once those things started to shift, I started to see results, because when you focus on grows, where your attention flows, it grows. If I'm focused on enrolling a person into a program, if I'm focused on landing a new speaking engagement, if I'm focused on these things, it's amazing what happens when you set a powerful intention and you commit with action. The world starts to bend to your will. The opportunities that were always there start coming. People start messaging you and calling you out the woodwork. Like, hey, I got this. I gotta introduce you to this person. I gotta tell you about this thing. I want you to be a part of this mission here. How does that happen? It's it's from me taking personal responsibility and ownership. So to put this in a nice little bow, my challenge before was I wasn't being an owner. I was being a victim. I was letting the world dictate to me what it wanted instead of me being creative, me tapping into my creative God given force of I can make whatever I want happen. I just now have to be committed to it.
Wow. How do you identify and seize new business opportunities?
How do I see new business opportunities? You said?
No. How do you identify and
Oh,
seize
sees.
new business opportunities?
Hmm. Honestly, it's everywhere. And it's a matter of me slowing down within myself and getting present to it. And these things will happen. Case in point, the other day, yeah, last week, for example, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm just checking out some messages, and I see somebody that I know who's shares a post about I'm going to be speaking at this event in the next couple weeks. I think to myself, wow, congratulations. And then I have the thought, I wonder if this place has more speakers. I wonder if they're available for more speakers. I reach out to that individual, ask them, hey, do you know who I can contact? And it takes them a while, but in the meantime, of that while of responding back, it took them like a day or two later. But within that day, I'm a person who believes on being active, on getting on the field. So I start to research. What's this organization? Let me see if I can find it. I don't find anything at first, but then um, I'm like a detective, man. If I get the scent of something, I'm gonna go after it. And
Yeah.
I get in touch with the person, call them up, like literally smile, like I dial and just like, hey, this is who I am. Do you have more speakers? Oh no, you don't. Well, I'd love for you to keep me in mind for more opportunities in the next year. And they tell me, hey, we have these two things coming up. Send me some information. So that's a potential opportunity that's going to happen in 2025, all from me looking for opportunities, seeing an opportunity, and as you said it, seizing it, not waiting for someone to give me a handout to introduce me and those are great. I love referrals. I love introductions. But why would I not be active? Why not? Why would I not be a change agent in my own life if I know I can find them? If I know this information available, I know if I can contact them some way, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to get on the field. I'm not going to be on the sidelines like, gosh, I hope somebody looks for me. Nobody's coming to save me. I'm going out there. I got to get it.
Mhm. Well, I think proactive is something that most people need to be, regardless of the case. And
Yeah.
I can see that just in your journey, not only seizing opportunities, but in just growing and making things, well, manifesting things in the way you wanted them to be, is how things got to be where they are today. And so, I want to ask you about, if you don't mind telling us, what role does innovation play in your entrepreneurial journey?
Gosh. Innovation is extremely important for me because I'm a very creative person. So I believe in a structure, a system, right? So I'm very interested in things that are duplicatable, repeatable, that I can do over and over and not really have to think about. But within that, I like to create games for myself. I like to find ways to keep myself interested because if it's the same old, then it gets stale, it gets mundane, and I don't put my best energy into it. So I'm constantly finding ways to be enthusiastic, right? It may be something as simple as if I have a daily minimum, if my minimum, I'm just making these numbers up right now. My minimum is reaching out to five people, reaching out to five associations a day.
Mhm.
Sometimes just like a workout, right? If we're working on the gym, if I know I can do 10, well, maybe I could do 12 on this time. Ooh, it's a little tough, it's a little more resistance, but boom, after that 12, like, ooh, okay, I think I'm ready to bump this up another weight. So it's checking in with yourself, checking in with your metrics, checking in with your own internal compass, your energy of am I don't want to say am I doing enough, but am I doing if is this too easy? Right. And not that I want to make my life difficult. I don't life is already difficult as it can be, but in the sense of business as a sport, I think of myself as a business athlete. Man, I want to get on the field. I want to compete. So what are other people doing? Not as a comparison, but like, okay, they're doing that. I think I can beat them in this game. Right. And so it's just these little micro things that keep me energized and keep me excited. And I love it. And I love working with clients like that too that are that are competitive but not combative. I think that's a big distinction that people can get confused, right? They can see somebody like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, and yeah, they're kind of at the extreme, right? They're at the top of their sports, and you have to be for who they had to be in their prime. They had to have that kind of mentality of like, I'm going to just dominate you and destroy you. And I'm not about that, but I'm about dominating myself. I'm about winning the battle within so that I can serve people at a high level.
Okay. Um, how do you manage risk in your business ventures?
Hmm. A lot of that is for me is really just the intuition, the gut test, right? This the smell test of things. Back in 2014, when I was getting into the financial services world, everything had to happen for the way it happened. But right away, it was one of those things that I didn't trust my gut. I didn't listen to myself because I was just listening to the presentation. I was going through the process of onboarding. It just didn't pass a smell test with me. I'm like, oh, I don't really know if I like this, if I should be doing this. But I was motivated by, I'll say this by greed and fear. I was afraid, my son's gonna be born. What am I gonna do? And greed of, wow, money. It's a lot of money in this business. I should get some of that. Right? So the risk for me was sacrificing ego, sacrificing days, sacrificing nights. Nowadays I don't really think of it as risk. I just think of it as being calculated, being thoughtful and intentional, and also making sure that if something's not aligned with me or my mission, my vision, then I'm okay with letting it go. There's more than enough for everybody out there. There's enough abundance. That's what we've been blessed with. That's what God has promised us. I believe in that, and I know that if I'm fulfilling my purpose, I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm gonna get what what I'm meant to get. It's my birthright.
Well, you know something, I think for a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially, like when wanting to be an entrepreneur, and we think about, as you was just talking about, risk. Like, what are some of the things you think they should know when we talk about risk? Some things that they should actually make sure that it's part of any plan that they make to account for the risk factors.
Hmm. Well, one right off the top of my head is people. Who are you in business with? Who are the folks that you are surrounding yourself with? Because that in itself can collapse an empire, and we've seen this time and time again through history. Right? It just takes one or two little cracks in the foundation to destroy
The whole
something that
thing.
can be very powerful. So the risk of the people you are in business with as far as partners, and then the clients that you serve, because not every client is a great client, right? Not all money is good money. And I've been gosh, I've had experiences where it's more trouble than it's worth. So you have to manage that risk of, am I in a position where I have to say yes to everything? And if you are, nothing wrong with that, but all right, what's gonna be the thing that's gonna separate me from having this feeling, or this internal way of being of like, I have to do this thing. Like, there's nothing that you have to do. There's nothing that you should be doing. There's nothing that you could be doing or would be like. What is it that you want to do? And then who and what are available to help you. So managing the people of risk, managing your own risk of yourself, right? Are you somebody who's disastrous? Are you somebody who, if we gave you $1,000 right now, are you going to Vegas or Atlantic City? Are you are you just wiping that out? Are you are you going to be a faithful steward of this money? Because if you can't handle a little, then what are you going to do with a lot?
Mhm. So, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs?
Mm. My advice for them would be tap in with the purpose of what you're doing, right? Really be aligned to it, be anchored into it, because that's going to be the thing that carries you on the long days and the nights where things aren't moving, the drought seasons where cash flow isn't coming in as consistently,
Mhm.
and you're ready to quit, right? You're asking yourself the question, why am I doing this? Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, why? what is what is wrong with me? Why am I doing this to myself? And if you have a purpose, right? In my when I speak, I call it building a bigger bubble, build a bubble of influence, of impact, a bigger picture of beyond you. It's a generational thinking. Are you thinking of global impact? Are you thinking beyond just your own individual silo self of God, I just got to get out of this. Charles, I just got to get out of this situation. I get
Mhm.
it. Survival is a real thing. But for you, young entrepreneur, if you're watching, you're listening to this, what is the thing that is going to compel you, that's going to allow you to enroll people into your big vision? Because that's at the end of the game what is required. Because I believe that you can do anything, but you don't have to do everything. So who's available to you? Who are the gifted and talented people to surround yourself with that can be your evangelists, that can be your advocates, that can shout for the mountaintops? This is what he's up to. This is what she's up to. You need to get on board with this train right now. They're going somewhere. Versus
Mhm.
the people that maybe don't believe in you, they'll weigh you down. They're gonna be asking question after question. They're gonna be they might say to yourself, like, maybe you've had this experience, Charles. Man, why are you doing a podcast? Man, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, why are you doing this thing? What, like, this thing? This
Mhm.
thing is my life's work. This thing is the thing
Mhm.
that feeds my family. This thing is my assignment from above.
Mhm.
So it's not a thing, right? If you're in this space right now of your business and your journey as an entrepreneur of, I just hope this thing works. Well, we got to create not a thing, but it's it's the obsession, it's the dream, it's the thing that you can't live without.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's some really good advice. So, because I think, as we're like older people such as myself that've got life and world experience, the thing that's important is that the things that we know, we should be handing those back right now
Mm,
because to make sure that the foundation is stable for this up and coming generation right now. I mean, like, you're a part of that, but you're like a cross in between. It still matters because to get it to you, to get it to the next person, is what the value is. And I definitely appreciate how you just framed that answer because those are some things that I think a lot of young entrepreneurs should think about the whole entire situation before going into entrepreneurship because it's why a lot of them can make mistakes and they make mistakes that are way too crucial than what needs to be. So, everybody makes mistakes, but like now, everything is going really, really fast. And
yeah.
so as it's going really, really, really fast, like maybe somebody like myself that really likes to take my time and make the foundation what it should be. That's not the way it operates today, you know. And so I really love the way you answered that question because there's a lot of value in that answer.
No, appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you tell us, how do you stay motivated during tough times in your business?
Whew, gosh, I I like just to be honest with myself, and I remind myself often that this is what I signed up for. I knew that this was not going to be easy. I knew this is going to be a dogfight to get to my dreams, and nobody's going to hand me anything. The
Mhm,
way that I stay motivated is having conversations like these, connecting with people in my network and people that just continue to inspire me. Right, my wife, my kids are a huge inspiration. Different mentors that I have, people that I'm peers with, communities that I run. Uh, and this is going back to this bubble analogy or phrase, right? Building this bigger bubble. I know that there are people counting on me to do what I do. So in the moments where I may be feeling low, feeling like, man, I'm not doing enough, sometimes it's fine to just give myself a pause, give myself a timeout. Because if I'm not doing my best work and if I'm not enthusiastic, if I'm not excited about it, if I'm not driven and obsessed with it, then it's probably that's my compass, right? This is my indicator that this is probably something that I'm not really meant to be doing, or at least at this time. I can table that. And I'm okay with that. And I think for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, this is something that you get to give yourself. You get to give yourself the gift of rest and grace
mhm,
because I'll tell you, then I'm going to rewind back now, right? 2014, 2015. I was on, I live in Long Island. So anybody who knows Long Island, you go on the
mhm,
Long Island Railroad to get to the city. And I was
mhm,
working at a Wall Street for a lot of times. So there's a lot of time I'm on the train, spending time by myself or listening to music or audios and thinking to myself, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
mhm.
What is wrong with me? Right? Just having these questions and recognizing that the passion is there, but sometimes the dream might be there, but you might be in the wrong bucket. And it's not to say give up on what you're doing, but really taking it out, have an honest and real conversation with yourself. Can I do this for the next 10 years? Can I do this for 20 years? Right? I was doing 70-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks.
Oh,
I was
wow.
grinding 5 a.m. workouts, 5 a.m. mayhem, like 1 a.m. in the morning. Right. I was just 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep. It's not sustainable.
Man,
What I
you
learned is,
within 24 hours.
yeah, I was trying to work 28 hours in a day, 400 days in a year. I was trying to do it all. And going back to my phrase, man, it's just like I could do anything, but I can't do everything.
Right.
So where am I going to give myself a grace of rest? Where am I going to give myself the the opportunity to just slow down and reflect? And when I work with corporate leaders, when I work with entrepreneurs, CEOs, this is a thing that it it's a fun challenge because a lot of them like they're like thoroughbreds, man. They want to just go, they want to take off. And sometimes it's gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not asking you to stop and be lazy and watch Netflix and have bowls of cereal around you and be a slob. But when's the last time you stepped outside during the daytime? Have you
Mhm,
have you stepped outside and taken a walk? Have you seen the sun? Are you at your computer all day, every day? Right. So these little hacks and tips and tricks is just beautiful reminders of, hey, we're here for a short period of time. Let's make this fun, but this doesn't have to be life or death. This doesn't have to be all or nothing. This can actually be something you enjoy, you're profitable at, it's impactful, and you get to do it your way.
mhm.
So hopefully that answers your question. I know I went on for a bit, but that's where I'm coming from with that.
Oh yeah. No, that's wonderful. You did answer the question. I appreciate that. The elaboration is always good, so don't you have to worry about that. Can you discuss the importance of networking in entrepreneurship?
Oh, oh, oh man, where do we start? Man, I'm gonna start off with the classic cliche, and it's what it is. Your net worth is your network, right? Or network is your net worth. When you're surrounded by with good people, I'm talking about like good people who want to see you win.
Mhm,
It's it's a game changer from the people who are potentially complaining, who are divisive, who are not as ambitious as you are. And I've been in both circles, and I've been both people. I've been the guy that's like, I'm just gonna use you as an example. You're right. You're gonna be my guinea pig for today. Like, man, that guy Charles, he's doing this podcast, and man, who do you think he is, right? Man, right, right. Because people love misery, right? It's the water cooler effect. Like, man, she's over there doing that, and she's trying to be somebody. Right? You're grumbling. You're lowering your vibration, lowering your energy. The importance for me with networking is what I've learned now over time is that not everybody is my client, and that's God, it's such a relief that I don't have to work with everybody. But here's the thing: everybody knows somebody who could be my client. Everybody knows somebody who I could speak for, or I could do a presentation with. So my mentality is always lead them with service. Like, how can I help this person? How can I make a difference for this person? Because the more I help, the more I receive, and I don't do it to get. Right. This is the shift for you as a young entrepreneur. I hope you can hear this. And you might have to put one finger in your ear so it doesn't go out, go in one and go out the other. When you lead with service, there's nothing you need to expect from somebody else, because then that it gets dirty, it gets transactional, it's prostitution, right? I did this for you, Charles. I did this for you, right? So now it's time for me to collect. Like, give me, give me, give me. No, no, no. I'm gonna give. I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna contribute. I'm gonna plant that seed, because at some point in the future, some point, whether it's through you or through somebody else, someone's gonna be like, man, that guy Alex, he's pretty good. He's a nice guy. He's decent. He's an expert in this. I want to reach out to him. I want to connect with him. I want to get in his world a little bit. Now, that's not for me, like, kind of doing a hold up, like, Charles, man, you better tell somebody about me, right? You need to, what I did for you, right? You know that. So that gets dirty. That gets like, ugh. The people that I've been able to collaborate with and curate a community with, they know where I stand. They know that I'm gonna amplify for them, and they don't have to ask me that, right? People share things. I'm gonna engage with them on a post. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna talk them up, because if I want to be the person. This actually happened last week. I was having a connection call with somebody, and someone was like, man, you're like famous. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I talked to like 3 people, and they all said, like, you got to talk to this guy. He's wonderful. He's amazing. Like, I didn't pay him to do it. I didn't put him up to that. I didn't
Right.
like slip him
Well, I don't
envelope
know.
full of money underneath. Like, hey, make sure you say, this is my
Yeah.
affiliate thing. No, no, it's just from who I'm being
Mhm.
and my network. I want to spend my time with people like that. This is my smell test, okay? So you all can take this. I wouldn't want to engage with anybody that I wouldn't invite over to my house to be with my wife and kids, or spend some time with me. If I'm like, then that's my radar, that's my compass, my north star. That, all right, this
The
person, I can love you
vibe
from a
ain't good.
distance.
Vibe ain't good.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's real.
I agree with you 500% because I am definitely a vibey person. If I get that bad vibe, then I'm sorry, but you can't be in the circle. You can't be in the circle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not feeling that, then and I got to constantly walk around with something like doing this to me in my head, like that's wrong. What is he doing? What is he doing? What is he doing? I don't need that because that's a distraction.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't allow you to fully connect. At least this has been my experience. It doesn't. It disconnects me. It blocks me from really seeing that person or expressing myself. Right. If I'm always on an eggshell, like, oh, what's he gonna ask me? It's coming. Like that pitch is it's any minute now. That train is never late. And
Right.
that's not a real relationship. It's just me appeasing or approving, and it doesn't serve. Let's put it like that.
And one other thing I want to add to the networking part, because I really need to give this shout out because I haven't before. I have 2 LinkedIn pages, right?
Okay.
And on those 2 pages combined, I've got more than 15,000 followers.
Whew, well done.
Now, the thing about that I'm going back to try to do is try to connect to those that I have not connected with, primarily like, like how we're doing this show tonight,
Right.
because that's very, very important, because the support on both sides has always been totally, totally wonderful. And so they deserve those kudos, but then it's also, the groups that I've been allowed to get into. See, it helps, as you're saying, because it helps to push it out a whole lot more. I'm not asking them to do that, but they do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
totally wonderful.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it takes
So,
time. It takes time to curate that. It takes time to grow that. So for and I'm speaking once again to young entrepreneurs, is your vision committed to the long haul, to the long game, right? If you connect with somebody today, are you almost like a puppy dog, like, when are they gonna refer me? When are they gonna buy my thing? Like, come on, hurry up. Like, no, 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 no. Take your time. This is like dating, it's like courtship. Things will happen when they're meant to happen. If they don't happen, that's fine too. You
mhm.
don't have to be attached to every single person. Like, oh my God, if I see Charles, man, all right, that's right. If I'm I can't run the calculation in my head, like, all right, that's gonna be like $15,000 right there, right? Like, I'm not a price tag. I'm not, this isn't a price is right. I'm a person.
I know that's right.
And for young folks, like, what is Price is Right? Just look up Bob Barker, Google, YouTube him, and you'll understand.
So, how do you balance work and personal life as an entrepreneur?
Oh, this is a great question, and I'll start it off with this. This is not to discount this question, but I recognized in my life that I don't think there is a balance. I don't know if I can achieve that. I can aspire for harmony, but case in point, right now we're having this conversation, right? So the time of the year, it's October. It's almost Halloween time. My daughter's high school's a couple minutes away. My wife and my son are over at the high school right now doing a trunk or treat. I could
Oh,
be with them, but I
mhm,
made a decision. I'm going to be here because we set this up. We have a commitment to have this conversation together.
mhm,
So me being here means that I'm not with them. But guess what? Because I'm not here with them, I'm here with you. That means I'm locked in with you. I'm dedicated to you, dedicated to your audience. And here's the thing that I was just coaching someone on this earlier. This person runs a financial business. The thing that gets in the way of most people is that they don't know how to complete things. They don't know how to
mm.
finish what they start. And this is, this is me, full confessional, telling on myself. This is where I operated from. Gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Oh my God, that's exhausting. Spinning plates everywhere. Whoa. Like, hold on. What if I could just do one thing and then go to the next thing? Me and a friend of mine, a fellow coach, we played this game a couple years ago. We called it OCD.
Oh,
And
wow.
the OCD game was this. This is what it stood for. It stood for optimal completion devotion.
Mm,
Meaning I'm not at my best, I'm at my optimal, at my peak. I can be that if I'm devoted to completing things, if I'm devoted to starting and finishing. So that's all we did for 90 days. We just said, we're going to start something and we're going to finish it. Whatever it is, it could be the smallest thing, it could be a large task, but we're going to start, we're going to finish. And that's where I started to see the shift of, wow, I have a lot more time in my day. I have a lot more opportunity. I have a lot more presence with my wife and my kids because I'm not sitting on the couch with them watching TV, ha ha ha. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I still got to send that email. I still got to call this person back. Man, I need to work on this presentation. Right? Hey, Dad, what's going on? What? Huh? Or one of these things would be happening. Do 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 do. Dad, do, do, do. I don't know. I gotta finish what I start,
right.
and give myself these pockets of time. allows me to be present with the people I do, and it allows me to do my best work because I know that, all right, if I said if I'm going to work on this for an hour, I better get after it. There's no time for me to be like, well, do do do, and maybe I'll check Facebook. Like, no, Facebook's got nothing to do with this. Unless I'm looking for opportunities or connecting with people or offering or doing things, then I don't need to be doing that. And it's easier said than done. It's practice. It's practice. Practice being your word. Practice being a person who's committed. It's worth a shot. Try it.
So we came out the gate running really, really hard. So I want to like give your mind a little. I'm going to give you a little clearance here because I want to play a word association game with you.
Okay.
Each word I ask you, I need to get the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Resilient,
Overcoming. Yeah.
family,
Happiness.
provider,
Hmm. Creator.
creative,
Hmm. God.
professional,
God. Professional. Committed.
inspire,
Influence.
life.
You said life?
Uh-huh.
See, now I have like 10 words in my head. All right. I'm going to slow down. Life. Good. Life is good.
Skill,
Open mindedness.
finance,
Options.
critic,
Critic. Disempowering. Yeah.
okay. Well, of all those words, now you remember all 10 of those words. Can you
I
tell
definitely
me
remember.
which of those words most closely associate with you and your career?
Mm. I didn't say creative. Yeah.
Creative.
Yeah. It's a toss up between creative and resilient, but I'll go with creative.
Okay. So tell me, why is it that creative is the one that stands out most to you?
For me, I think it brings me the most joy, recognizing that I can do anything, that I can build this business, I can shape it the way that I want it. It doesn't have to be this outline or something else somebody else has done. And that's only come from me trying to fit myself in the mold early on in my coaching career. I joke about this a lot. I always say that I was inspired by people who told me to build the funnel and they would come, right? Just build this website, build this course, build a thing, and people would come. I did all those things and nobody was coming. Like nobody's here. I'm like, where are they at? I thought I was supposed to do the thing, and I started to realize and recognize, okay, maybe this isn't for me. Then I came across some different philosophies, some different ways of approaching business differently.
Mhm.
Adopted those, modeled after that. But my life is just is always reinventing. I'm always reinventing who I am and how I think and what I want to do. And I think that's at the end of the day, that's our gift as humans, right? As people, like I said, whatever faith you subscribe to is yours. For me, God is the master creator, and we're made in His image. So for what I believe is that creativity, abundance, that's my birthright. If you were to cut me open right now, Charles, it's gonna look like blood, it's gonna look like veins and bone and all that. But for me, that's creativity that pours out of me. I can't help but create. Even when I try, even when I try to turn it off, right? Like
Mhm.
quote unquote, like just shut my mind down, my mind is like, whoa, this could be better. This could be tweaked. And it's not a self-deprecating thing. It's not like, oh, Alex, you suck and you should be doing better. It's just, wow, I see a new opportunity. Right. And I think that's the best gift that we can get. When I was younger, as a kid, as a boy, as a teen, young adult, I didn't see opportunities. I thought things were just the way they were. This is how it is.
Mhm.
No, there's no avenue, there's no outlet for me besides this one thing. And through coaching, through mentoring, through support, through love, I've recognized that wow, there's a lot of possibilities out there. There's even more that I can't even think about all of them.
Mhm.
But what I get to do, right? This is the key word. This is why language matters, kids, if you're watching. You get to do is you get to choose. When I realize that I get to choose who I want to be and what I want in my life, God, that opens up so many opportunities, so many people, networks, people that I never thought I could get access to because I'm creative enough to believe that I'm worthy of that and I'm gonna go get it.
So, do you think that it's that innovativeness, that creativity that you have that makes you the loyal, reliable husband slash entrepreneur that you are today?
Yeah, 100%. Because back to this word of reinvention, right? Me and my wife, at the time of recording this, we've been together for 18 years. We've been married for 14 years. Yes, thank you. If you can imagine this, I'm not the same person who I was when we met 18 years ago, right? And
Right.
every day I get to create my wife in a couple of different ways. There are some days where I create her as somebody doesn't get me, she doesn't understand me, why is she like this, right? I can create her that way. And I can hold her in this mold, this vision of, wow, she doesn't listen to me, she doesn't respect me, she doesn't get me. Man, why am I doing this? And there are other days where I can create her as, wow, she's the most important person in my life. This person saved my life. This woman gave me the gift of these two children. We built this beautiful home together. We built this beautiful life. So it's a creative process. Same thing with my business. The business is my other woman. This is my mistress, my my coaching business, right?
Right. I
But
get
I can create that as something that's, man, it's difficult to find clients. Man, this thing sucks. Boy, life is tough. Nobody wants to buy this. There's no money out there. I could create that. Or I could look at it as, wow, there's opportunities everywhere. Wow, there's so many people out there who want to see me win. There's so many people out there that are supporting me. There's so many people who want to hear my voice and want to hear my take on different things. So it's a creation. Everything is a creation.
We're going to transition over here to this second part of this wonderful journey of yours. We're going to go into leadership.
Yeah.
So, tell us, what qualities do you believe are essential for effective leadership?
Whew. Oh gosh, I love this. Great question. So I boil it down to three things, and this is what I teach from the stage and work with people on. Is one, being a master connector. The best leaders that I've been around and the times that I've displayed great leadership have been when I've been the most connected to people, where I've acknowledged people. And not just a simple like, hey, add a boy, add a girl, like good job. But no. I want to connect something that they do with something that they are and that they know they are, or a trait that they believe they have. So case in point, no, here we go again, Charles, my example here. If I'm leading you in a situation, I can say, hey Charles, thanks for setting up the podcast, good job. And you'd be like, well, thank you, kind of, right?
Mhm.
But if I was saying, Charles, I love how dedicated you are to this. I love how you are committed to making sure that people are empowered and inspired. You're such an amazing host. You're an amazing leader. that does something different, right? You sit up a little bit differently when you get acknowledged, when you get recognized, and that's people.
Mhm.
I know for myself, that's all I've ever wanted. It's just like, can
Mhm.
people just see me? Can people just recognize and appreciate what I do? Not that I need a parade. I don't need a confetti. I just need people to like acknowledge, like, all right, I'm here. I exist, and I'm valued. I'm seen. So be a master connector. Two, be an amazing collaborator. I've said it over and over, and I'll say it to the day I die. You can do anything, but you don't have to do everything.
Mhm.
How much easier is it to let other people in their zone of genius, their area of expertise, do what they do best? You have the vision, you cast it as the leader. This is what building a bigger bubble looks like.
Mhm.
Can this person handle this task? Can this person handle that? You trust them to do that, right?
Mhm.
You give the guidance, you direct, but you let them take ownership of it. That's collaboration. That's that's where things really get fun. That's when you don't have the 1 a.m. wake ups of like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You sleep well at night. Three, be a masterful creator. Be always creating. And that for some people may look like, oh, never being satisfied. That could be a part of it. But it's just always thinking like, how can we do this better? How can we make this simple? What and when you're connecting with people, when you're collaborative, it frees up your mind. It frees up the baggage of all the things that you don't want to do or you're not the best at, you're not skilled at, so that you can start to see the big picture, the big bubble, and you can move and direct and mobilize people in a powerful way. But that only happens when you give yourself space and you actually are okay with, this is going to be a dirty word for you leaders out there, letting go of certain things. I know somebody out there is like, no, 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 la, 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 Alex, I don't want to hear that. But it's real.
Let
Let it
go of that
go.
control.
Just let it go. And this is from a self-proclaimed control freak too, right? And there's moments where that flares up when I'm like, it should be done this way. And I gotta check myself, right? I gotta be like, whoa, where am I coming from? Oh, am I coming from I think I had the best idea? Am I coming from a place of I want to get the credit, I want the award, I want people to give Alex the pat on the back? Or am I thinking about the team? Am I thinking about the clients? Am I thinking about the overall impact that could be made versus my own desire to get the glory and get the trophies for myself? I'd rather have all of us have trophies. That's why my chapter in my book, that book is called Everybody Wins, including me. I'm a part of everybody. I get to win too.
I'm going to tell you something. I really, I love that answer so much because it said so many things.
Mm.
And this is the thing that I hope, especially these younger folk that's out here watching tonight, will understand that when we talk about leadership, that last point is the one that just it's just like it's the everything. And that is you don't have to be in control of everything. I am the first person, and I will tell you that it's so like with the OCD and the everything else that I have that and and bringing in other folks. I mean, I brought them in for a reason, but initially I actually had that problem. I'm like, oh my God, it's like I couldn't sleep because I wasn't doing it. And it's not that it wasn't good, it was great. But it's like, I don't even know if that's right. That's what I'm saying to myself. So, and that's so self-sabotaging. But
Yeah.
it's true, and sometimes we just got to get over ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's and I'm not saying it's easy. This is a thing that's a practice. It's a
Yeah.
practice. And I think it boils down to back into the even to that connection space of like just trust. And this is kind of going back into the network too. Do you trust your people? And if you don't trust them, then why are they there?
Hmm.
So that's a whole nother conversation for some folks. Like, oh, oh,
Yes,
I
sir.
know I'm poking right now. Poking somebody like, oh God, but it's okay. It's all right.
So tell us, how do you inspire and motivate your team?
Gosh, acknowledgement all day, every day, man. It's it's something that I don't even want to call it a technique because I work on it so much that it's just a way of my being of someone can, even case in point today, right? The group that I co-lead, the BIPOC Coach Collective, we're a small group of coaches, at least on the leadership front. We have people around the world that we're here to support and mobilize and help them with their businesses and help them advance professionally. And one of the members did something on an email. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. They put something together, right? Here it is. They had put together this framework uh, for a guide for like speakers that we bring in, like guest speakers. And so earlier today, I put it together in a nice presentation format, right? I was messing around in Canva, did the whole thing, but like they laid it out, and I just wanted to let them know, like, hey, thank you for setting this up. Thank you for doing this because you made my job a lot easier. You made my part in this a lot easier. You set me up, and all I had to do was just slam dunk, right? That's all I had to do, but it that doesn't happen without them. So I think a key thing is I call it going for the gold or listening for the gold. Like, where's the gold in what this person is saying? Where's the gold in what this person is doing? Because if I'm looking for that, then I'm gonna find it, and vice versa. If I'm looking for the mistakes, I'm looking for the things that irritate me. I'm looking for the things that that grind my gears and I have a grievance about. I'm gonna find that by the truckload, and that's that's never gonna allow them to be their best because they're always gonna be they may be potentially thinking, yeah, he's giving me this compliment now, but I know that other side is coming. I know he's gonna lay out some things he doesn't like, and this is not it's not a bubblegum thing. It's not ostrich head in the sand like that. Everything's great. But I just make the choice. Like, I want to choose to find what they're doing well and acknowledge them for that. And that's been something that's been helpful for me. It creates a much more inclusive, thriving ecosystem.
Mhm.
And I'm here to thrive. I'm not here to be around people that I don't like the work we do, and don't like the results we get. That's a complete loss and complete waste of time. I want to win and I want them to win too. And honestly, we're here together. Let's all win. Like, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want to aspire for that? Why would I want to speak? Here we go, biblical man. We can speak life or speak death into people. I'm here to speak life. I'm here to spread love. Why would I not do that?
Right, right. No need to be negative and kill folk, right?
No, there's
Mm.
enough negativity out there. If you're
Very.
around me, I would hope for the most part you feel like okay, you walk away from me like you feel a little bit better about yourself, or you feel clear and more confident.
So tell us, can you share an example of a difficult leadership decision you've had to make?
Hmm, gosh. Well, case in point, this is with the team, right? The BIPOC Coach Collective. So this week, this Friday, the 25th, we're hosting an open house, and we're actually collaborating with another group who hosts this. It's now turned into like a biannual event, or yeah, is that right? Twice a year, biannual, or whatever. Anyway, twice a year event called Coach's Barbecue, and we have been talking about it for a couple of months, and but we never really pulled the trigger on it. I wasn't available for a leadership meeting that we just had, and it was decided like, all right, we're going to be a part of it. We're going to do all these things, and I'm just being transparent. I felt triggered by it. I felt upset. I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't even do all these things. We just things we have to set up. There's right. I'm getting annoyed. I'm having imaginary conversations with myself, having arguments with them, with myself, and it was a great wake up call for me. Like, hey, Alex, remember when you said that you don't have to do everything? Oh yeah, okay. That there's a team here that's supporting you, and they have a vision too. That it's called the collective. It's not the Alex Dumas show.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. So in that case, what's going to serve me and what's going to serve them get this done? Because it's on the table now. The ball is rolling. The clock is moving. This event is happening. So am I going to be the person who's a negative Nelly, like, well, you guys go figure it out. I wasn't part of the whole thing anyway. So, or am I going to be the leader I am and say, hey, what needs to get done? Hey, how can I help? How can I contribute to this? What's going to be the most effective? And that's already been put in motion. I've done a couple of LinkedIn lives, set up some graphics, set up some things on our website, right? Just doing my part and talking with the team of like, hey, what do you vision for this event? What would you like to have happen? So I think they're put into practice like, hey, am I connected with them? Am I collaborating? Am I being creative? Or am I going to condemn them? Am I going to criticize? Am I going to chastise and complain? Those are
Mhm.
choices.
Right. I'll tell you one thing. I gotta say, once you set that plan, once you have everything structured the way it should go, I think it
Mhm.
all works. But you always have some people that want to come in, especially when they're having that bad day, they want to throw red paint on everything. And it's like
Yeah.
you're not Peter, but hey, come on now.
Yeah, I'm not bringing my cloud. Listen, I spent, gosh, a long time, what I call in my black cloud kingdom, my personal thundercloud of being upset, asking myself disempowering questions, judging people, complaining, like I said, grievances, being annoyed and people being a nuisance to me. And of course, I'm perfect. I never do anything to offend anybody. I never do anything to upset anybody else. It's their fault. If they got a problem with me, it's on them. It's a check up on the neck up, like, oh, maybe I was a little sharp here. Maybe I wasn't as kind here. Maybe I was disrespectful there. Maybe, right? That's a possibility. So where am I not being the person I were? Where am I now sitting then and not being open and not being welcoming and inclusive to people? Ooh, I don't want to look at that, but it's real. It happens.
Mhm. Can you share an example? Oh, well, let me just ask. No, not. I'm going to ask you this: how do you handle conflicts within your team?
I think the best policy is just everyone we air it out and not in a slinging disrespectful way of you right. It doesn't get personal. It doesn't get into attacking someone's character. But I think the conflicts that we've been able to resolve have all come from being open and trusting each other, and that being the foundation of who we are, of being authentic, of showing up as who we are. And those conflicts, those tensions in the moment, right? I can get heated about it. I can feel flushed. I can feel like my blood is boiling. But it's always in hindsight. It's always taking a step back and like I said, going for the gold, listening for the gold of, well, I didn't like how this person said this to me or how they said it, what they said and how they said. But where's the gold? Is there some truth here? Is there something here that I can use for my advantage? Is there something here that I'm not seeing that they're seeing? And this is in the professional setting and in a personal way, right? My wife is she is one of the people who will always hold me to my word. And when I'm not, and it happens, she'll be like, hey, listen, you weren't you said you were gonna do this and you didn't. Well, honey, but there's no honey anything. Honey, what? Did you do it or did you not? Okay, made a mess. Now I get to clean it up. And I think approaching conflicts that way has served me because it takes it from this character flaw of mine. It takes it from this identity of, man, I failed, so I'm a failure. I messed up, so I'm a mess. Uh, and descending into this happened, right? This baseline thing happened. Now, what do I choose to do? How do I choose to improve from here? How can I grow from this? What's the lesson in this for me? And it's not flushing things away, it's not dismissing things, people say toxic positivity, right? It's not that. It's just my choice. I choose to not dwell there. I can feel it. I can have the moment of like, well, okay, I really messed this up here. Simmer in it, saute, but I'm not going to live there. It's a stop. It's not a stay for me.
Mhm. So, um, what strategies do you use to develop and nurture talent within your organization?
That's a good question. One, just being curious, right? Curious as far as what does one person want to do? What's their strength, right? We've one of our members, they're certified in behavioral strength analysis, so we've all had chances to work with them one on one, and and for them to like point out these different things, right? Not, excuse me, not come from a place of being accusatory or judgmental or condemning, but just looking at, hey, these are the kind of things, the areas that you're really strong in, and this is how it translates into what we do and what we're building here as a movement. So that's one part of just getting honest of as far as what people's strengths are. I've mentioned acknowledgement. I'll continue to mention that because that's such a powerful tool for people to receive and to use. And I
Mhm.
think that the last piece of this is through those things, finding ways to put people in the right places, in position to win, and casting that big vision, right? The big bubble of what are we doing, what are we up to, what are we trying to accomplish, and then how can you help us do that? And if you're curious enough to ask that question and be willing and be present enough to hear the answer, right? Hey, Charles, how can you help me? Well, I can do. Yeah, hold on, buddy. Just right
Mhm.
now. Now I just dismissed you instead of including you, and welcoming you into this mission.
Um, Let me ask you this next question here because this one I think kind of like ties in these last five questions. Um, how do you maintain a positive company culture?
I think for us, I'm referring to my group, the BIPOC Coach Collective. I think we've been just rooted in friendship,
Hmm.
and then the way that our group started is, we've been around since 2020, since the end of 2020. So it started with just us networking with each other and other coaches and just building this relationship. And I think for any leader, this comes back to the connection piece. How much time are you spending with your people? The quality time too, not just, all right, we need to go have a review now, Charles. This is the annual thing. So let's talk about all the things you did wrong. And I want to build a real relationship with people. And I think that's been the glue, honestly, for us. And anywhere else I've been, right? Whether it's been through the Black Executive Inc. community, whether it's been through different events I've been able to lead, when I genuinely like the people and have a healthy respect for them,
Hmm.
the work is so much easier. Even back when I was in case management and in the nonprofit space as a manager for group homes, working with special needs individuals, when I enjoy being with people, right? When we think about our work life, we're going to spend about 40 years in our prime, right? From early 20s to traditionally, right, the mid 60s, early 70s. That's a big chunk of our life. Our life is with these people.
Hmm.
Wouldn't it make sense that we like what we do and like where we're at? I'm
I
not
would
here to have a bad
say
time. I'm here to have a great time and have a great life and win with people.
right, right. Um, what role does empathy play in your leadership style?
Gosh, empathy is huge. Empathy is, it's the backbone of everything. I got to be able to understand my folks. I got to understand where they're coming from, and also for me too, I have to be able to communicate when I have when I want to challenge a thought, when I want to challenge a protocol that we're coming up with, but
Oh,
also being flexible. I think that's, empathy and flexibility are in the same realm, because yes, I can want things my way, but entrepreneur doesn't want things their own way. But leader doesn't want things their own way. But I also have to be empathetic and flexible enough to know where my where my people are coming from, where are they at, and that's me staying tapped in. That's me staying connected, and it's just being able to be present and recognize that, yeah, this person has a hard situation, right? In my group, there's been a lot of different challenges with other people, right? With health challenges, family challenges, just you name it, it's happened. And instead of me being like, well, you were supposed to do that, but now I got to do it. I got to pick up your slack. Hey, I got you. What do you need me to do? Take your time. When it's time for you to come back or re-engage with us, we
mhm,
got you. And the show goes on. But that's us being strong enough to ask for support, ask for help. And I think empathy is the is the is the bridge for that, for people to be comfortable enough to say, you know what, I just need, this is what's going on in my life, instead of suffocating that and stifling that and holding on and hoping like nobody knows. Hopefully nobody knows my secret. I'm embarrassed by this. Like, we're all in this together. Your life affects my life.
mhm. That's very smart. So, can you tell me something? How often do you guys have your meeting?
Yeah. Right now at this time, about twice a month, we usually have like a guest speaker come in, talk to our group, and then we have an open house, open to the public experience for people. So that's one that's going to be happening this Friday on the 25th. And then we're implementing a few more different things where members can connect with each other, do some coaching, um, implementing some different spaces for them to tell their story. I run the monthly podcast, but I recognize that we have so many members, we have so many impressive people that for me not to get their stories out, it's the service to them. So we're implementing some things on LinkedIn pretty soon where we're going to be able to have a lot more frequency of engaging with them and talking to and talking to our community and expressing who they are. So to answer your question right now, about twice a month, but we're going to be ramping it up to about 4 or 5 times a month, honestly, with the different things we're up to.
Okay. Um, how do you stay adaptable and open to change as a leader?
Checking my ego at the door. Being, I think for me, just it's a natural thing for me. Just stay that I'm usually open to possibilities. I'm open to different perspectives. Doesn't mean I have to adopt it. Doesn't mean I accept it head on. But I keep my ears open, and I keep my ears to the scanner of what's happening in people's lives and different propositions or offers or ways that can be tweaked or adjusted and improved. And I'm all for that. If it can be improved, we can do it faster, easier, simpler, then tell me more. I'm curious. And as a coach, I think that's been one of my greatest assets and superpowers, is just being curious and wondering, well, what if and what's possible and what could be. If I stay open like that, then there's no stopping. There's it's literally endless. So I'm all for it.
Can you discuss the importance of leading by example?
God. Oh, as a parent, that is something that I am I'm tasked with every day. And to look like something like this, I may say to my kids, hey, put your shoes in the closet, clean up after yourself, clean the table, do that. But they don't always do that, but they need to see me doing it. Even if they don't do it, I
Mhm,
need to be doing it. I need to be taking the lead. I'm doing the dishes. I'm going to vacuum. I'm going to put this stuff away. Not because I want to shame them or roast them, but I want to show them that this is what it looks like when you stand by your word. I want my word. A men, I'll put it like this: a mentor of mine. He said that people's words and intentions, they're like currency. Do you want your currency to be gold, right? Do you want it to be solid and a tangible thing, or do you want it to be like inflation, right? Where it's just whatever you say, willy nilly, freely, doesn't have any value behind it, doesn't have a stance behind it. Then people can't trust what I say. People can't believe who I am if I'm not doing what I say I'm going to do. If I'm saying I'm going to work out several times a week, but you catch me on the couch, I'm eating cereal, ice cream, not going to the gym, not running, not exercising. It's like, what are you doing, right? I don't. I want to work out with a overweight personal trainer. This is not to body shame or weight shame anybody, but I want my personal trainer to be fit. If I'm working with a coach, I want that coach to get results. If I'm working with a musician, I want that person to know what they're doing to
That's
a
leading
degree.
by example.
Lead by example, for sure. That's everything. Leadership is everything.
So, how do you measure success as a leader?
Hmm. I think part of it's from the gut test. Do I feel good about what we've done? Do I feel good about what we've accomplished? The purpose, the intention of it. Did we do what we set out to do? Early this year with the collective, we had our first in-person gathering in Washington, D.C. It was our 1 year anniversary of our group becoming a membership space, right? I said we existed since 2020, but 2023, we made the decision to convert that into a membership space, and we actually had our first in-person gathering. And the success for me was just the smiles on people's faces, right? Of stepping back, just watching the room. There's so many times that night where I just stood in awe. Like, wow, this is what it looks like when people are committed and devoted to creating something and we pull it off. And with ease too, right? I mean, yeah, there's gonna be some challenges, there's gonna be some hiccups. That's a part of the deal. But for the most part, it's relatively easy. It's with flow. It's with excitement, with enthusiasm. And if I can look at a project and say, did I do good work? Right? I think of God. On the seventh day he rested. Wow, it is good. Didn't say it is perfect. It
Right.
didn't say, wow, this is magnificent. No, this is good. It's good work.
Mhm.
That's how I measure it.
Great. I will tell you that the other two parts of this wonderful interview, I'm going to ask and hope that you will come back um, and conclude as a second part. I want to invite you back in February, which we'll talk offline about that if that's possible.
Yeah, that's
But
possible for sure.
just in the wrap up process, please, if you would, give our listeners a final word of wisdom, charm, whatever you want to call it. Some things that they should know, but also please let them know how they can actually connect and contact you if need to be.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I would love to come back and contribute to your show. Once again, for anyone who wants to connect with me, you can go to speakeralexdumas.com, all one word, no dashes, speakeralexdumas.com. You can connect with me if you're somebody looking for a speaker for your group, for your organization, or just you want to get some free goodies. I have audios there. You can connect to my podcast, all that kind of stuff. And if you want to connect with me on social media, I'm on LinkedIn, mainly Alex Dumas. You'll find me. And the last word or last piece of advice I would say for somebody, especially in the leadership space, is just recognize that your voice matters and your story matters. And you get to create that everywhere you go. You get to tell people who you are and you get to show them who you are. So lead by example, be a person of your word, be committed, and stay connected with people. Build that bigger bubble. Include people and enroll people into your big vision because it's worth it. It might seem crazy right now. All right. It might seem like this is so out of so far down the line, it's so out of touch. I'll never be able to reach it. I'm telling you, one piece at a time, one person at a time. You're one person away from your life exploding and changing. And that's not hokey talk. That's not rhetoric. This is what I've experienced. One person, right? Just one action, one decision can change your entire life. But you have to be ready for that. Be open.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Mr. Alex for spending some time with us and actually giving out some really sound and great advice, especially for those that are up and coming into the entrepreneur space. I hope that you guys were taking notes and that you guys also will know that if you've got any other questions or concerns, so you'll know how to actually connect with him and you can make things better for yourself. I'd like to thank each and every last one of you, especially those that are watching on the YouTube channel. I would appreciate if you would please hit the subscriptions button as well as the notifications button so you can stay in touch with the show. You can follow us as each and every time we do a show. If you don't want to watch it when it first premieres, you're always able to go back and watch the shows. I appreciate your support and I love to have that continue as we go and we grow. Thank you again, Alex, for spending some time with us. And I want to tell you that I'm looking forward to reaching out to you so we can get that second date set up because, you know, February, of course, is Black History Month. And
Yes.
that's a very important month for all of us. So, to all of you, please have a great evening and oh Lord, what did I do? Okay. Have a great evening.
Yeah.
And, and please come back and see us tomorrow evening for another great show. You all have a great evening and thank you all. I appreciate you.